Hi guys, how are you doing? This is Sebastian from TechCentury and welcome to my new video that's all about this very inexpensive and still elegant looking iPad mini wall mount. Now, why would you want to mount your tablet to the wall? Well, for me there are a couple of reasons. First off, I want to control Spotify multi-room audio through Chromecast with this tablet. On top of that, I also want to use this for home surveillance through IP cameras. And last but certainly not least, I want this to be quick access for guests that are here at the apartment to use the internet without having to give them, for example, the credentials to the Wi-Fi. So there aren't really any personal data here stored on this tablet. This is just a tablet without a passcode that anyone can use who is a guest here in the apartment. Again, to control music, for example, or to quickly Google something. And I had the idea of mounting the iPad mini to the wall for a very long time because in the end I just didn't use the tablet anymore because I have my iPad Pro, and so I'm very happy that I now found this solution with this very inexpensive wall mount. Now, most solutions that I found online were geared toward companies and enterprises, and therefore they retailed for like 100, 200 or even 300 US dollars or euros. But this iPad mini mount that you see right here, that you can purchase also from Amazon, at least in Europe, retails for around 30 euros or US dollars. So this is a steal and it still looks very elegant. Now, before we get into the functionality of the iPad mini here in this wall mount, I want to show you the wall mount itself and basically what you get for around 30 US dollars or euros. It's not perfect, but certainly the best solution that I was able to find out there. So here you see a close-up of this iPad mini wall mount, and it's fairly simple. It's just a piece of metal that has the exact dimensions here of the iPad mini. And again, I think this is a very elegant solution, especially regarding the price. But of course it also comes with a couple of disadvantages that you might not have with more expensive solutions. First off, you might notice that there aren't any cutouts here on the top or the bottom. This means that you don't have access, for example, to the rotation lock, which isn't that important, or also to the volume control. So for example, you can't control Spotify audio volume here with the physical buttons on the iPad mini, which is certainly a shame. But fortunately, Spotify has the audio level controls here built in the app, which is great to see. Now, another disadvantage is that because you have metal right here, you can't really slide down the notification shade or even the quick settings menu from the bottom. Now, I personally don't need it because I would only use it, for example, for changing the brightness, and I can just go into the regular settings app for that. But this, of course, another disadvantage that you have to realize if you're thinking about this solution. Again, more expensive and more optimized solutions that retail for probably like $300 probably don't have these issues. Now, if we just slide out the iPad mini, then you see that yes, I bought this from Amazon, but it's not perfect nonetheless, and I still had to do some optimization to make it work for me. Now, first off, how is this mounted to the wall? Well, we just have some screws right here, actually 2 in total, and that's completely enough. The holes were already in the metal itself, so I didn't have to drill any holes into the metal. And then we have this fake leather surface that looks good in theory and that you can also get in different patterns on Amazon. But the problem is that this is actually thicker than the iPad mini. So basically it just slides around here in this frame, and therefore I used these little like self-sticking pads in order not to certainly damage or scratch the iPad here from the screws, but also to get a tight fit so that the iPad isn't sliding around or moving when you're using it, and that it's a very tight fit. And this is basically it when it comes to the frame itself. It doesn't look that great when the iPad mini isn't inserted. Of course, it would look a lot better if I didn't have these sticky pads on there, but then again, the iPad slides around. But that's not really the biggest problem because usually the iPad mini is in the frame 99 to 100% of the time, except if I have to charge it. But that's mostly the case when I'm just leaving the house. And again, then you can slide it in. Now, you might not need these if you have, for example, a case for the iPad mini, because this solution is also advertised as working with an iPad mini with a thin case. So I'm still thinking about whether getting, or if I should be getting, a very slim transparent case here for the iPad mini that might also allow for perfect fit without these pads that also make the solution or the frame look better if I just didn't have it inserted. But that's basically it when it comes to the close-up here of this wall mount itself. Also, the build quality isn't that perfect. You can see that the just like this fake leather is overlapping here a little bit the frame, and that there's already a scratch in the metal right out of the box. But again, for 30 years, $30, I don't think that you can go wrong with it. So now that you've seen the mount itself, of course it looks much better with the iPad mini inserted. Now you might notice that there isn't a lightning cable connected, so therefore the iPad mini doesn't charge in this wall mount. There are other solutions out there that are able to do this. This one unfortunately isn't. But then again, I'm just using it again for Spotify control, home monitoring and so on. So the iPad mini isn't turned on all day, and therefore it's enough if I charge it like once or twice every other week. So that's definitely fine. And of course it still looks more elegant without any cable just dangling down there. So I'm pretty happy with the solution. So first off, of course, let's get into the main reason why I built or purchased this. And this is Spotify control. Now, in order to make this work, in my case, I use Chromecast, so we also have the Google Cast app right here. And in the end, I have three Chromecast audios here connected to the Wi-Fi network. I have one that's called living room, another one kitchen, and then theater. And I also have them grouped in the group apartment. So now when we then go over to Spotify itself, we can just basically choose whatever playlist we want. And if we then just play the music, it just plays here on the iPad. Now, of course, I can't turn up the volume because of copyright reasons, but then we have devices available down there, and I can choose apartments. So this would be to play the music in all the rooms that I have connected to the Chromecast, or only one of these three rooms. So if I, for example, want to play the music on all speakers here throughout the apartment, then I just choose the apartment, then it connects to these speakers and Chromecasts, and then the music is playing. Again, I'm gonna stop this due to copyright reasons, but maybe you've heard that it was playing from the living room, for example. And overall, I just feel like this is a great solution, especially again for guests to just come here, change the music, for example, if they don't like a song, without me having to hand them, for example, my smartphone with all my personal data. I can just tell them, okay, just go to the iPad mini and change the music to whatever you want to like. So that's, I think, a quite nice solution. Now, the second big advantage of this iPad mini wall mount solution is that I can use this for home monitoring using IP cameras. Now, unfortunately, this currently works better in theory than it does in reality, because I'm currently using a Hubble solution by Motorola, and you see the issue right here. Now, streaming and everything works, but unfortunately the app isn't optimized for landscape use. So this is quite a big pain, but this is also another reason why I'm looking for a different IP camera solution that actually has an iPad app that works in landscape as well. So maybe you guys have some recommendations that I can look into, but overall I really like that I can just take a look at the IP cameras and the IP camera feed here on the iPad to, for example, see who's in front of the door and so on. And I think this is a perfect solution if the app was optimized, but that's not the fault of the iPad mini or the wall mount. Last but not least, of course, we have the standard iPad mini functionality like the Safari web browser, where guests can just Google stuff, or of course YouTube, where they can just watch videos and also, for example, play them back on Chromecast devices or Google Cast devices like the Sony TV. And that's basically the main functionality that I have here on this iPad mini wall mount. And I have to say I'm incredibly satisfied with it, especially for the price of around $30 a year. Now I just have to find a better home monitoring solution using IP cameras, and then I'm 100% happy with the solution. And I'm also really eager to hear what you guys have to say. I think it looks fantastic, especially the contrast here with the brushed aluminum and the black from the iPad mini. And especially for the price, you certainly can't go wrong with it. And for me, it's a much better solution than if the iPad mini would just be laying around in a room somewhere and if I didn't use it. So this is great, especially again here for the Spotify control. We basically use this multiple times every day. And I just love the Chromecast audio setup with multi-room audio and Spotify. So anyways, I'm really looking forward to your comments to hear what you guys have to say about this solution. Did you ever think about mounting your tablet to a wall? Do you have any use case for this as well? Maybe again also Spotify, a multi-room audio, the IP camera surveillance, or other use cases that I didn't think about. For example, I also have here a weather app. That's not really that spectacular, but it's also nice to just quickly take a glance at the weather. And this also wraps it up. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that it was helpful. I'll leave a link to Amazon in the description below where you can purchase this iPad mini wall mount. And I really hope to see my next video. Thank you very much for watching.